I just wanted to make a video on why I think the next couple of months for Sorare are more crucial than people realise. Now, I'm going to get straight into it of people being like, hey, didn't you just make a video on saying you're doubling down on Sorare, and you're buying Haaland, you're buying Mamouche. Now you're saying the next couple of months could be crucial. And it's like, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I think the ROI on cards right now is brilliant. You know, there's such big opportunities in the market. But at the same time, I'm looking at the future, and for the first time in a long time, I'm a bit concerned, I guess is the only fair word to put it. Look, you get things like the gambling commission versus Sorare and how that will impact the game. We don't really know. But I'm just looking at sort of the core of the game. And it's still the same. You know, we've moved to this Sorare 2.0 model where, you know, you get a big lot of your returns in the first year, and then classic cards, which they're pretty much dead. They're definitely not in favour, put it that way. So we can touch on that format, or we can just look at sort of the core of the game, the fundamentals, the fun. You know, if it's a game, the key thing of it, is it fun to play? And the more I look at it, I think it's fun to play as an ROI game, but is it fun to play without the cash? And maybe that's a bit too extreme of an example, but even with the cash, it's just not as fun as A, it once was, in my opinion, or B, it's moving further away from the fun element that we do want. You know, let's just go straight to some examples, right? I look at the special weeklies every week. I have never been interested in any of them. It makes no sense to have these divisions and I spend $4.5-5 on a Premier League team, and then they're like, hey, look at these special weeklies. I'm like, I'm gonna play in the Premier League. It's where the top prize is, where I've bought all my cards for. Very, very rarely would I ever care for a special weekly. And there's so much like trying to build hype for it when, you know, I'm pretty deep in the community. You know, I've got a lot of followers, I follow a lot of people, I read a lot of things, I watch a lot of videos. I don't see anyone else having the same, I don't see anyone else having a different view to me of can't wait to see the top tacklers special weekly and I'll buy them, or this goalkeeper makes loads of saves. It's just one of those things that I think people agree on. Specials are not special, they're not fun. Now, why would that have, you know, a long-term effect on Sorare? Well, it probably doesn't. But it's every little thing adding up to, if you play Sorare 2.0 in-season cards and you're playing for money and you're winning, it's great fun. But if your fun only comes from your ability to win money on the game, then it doesn't matter. That's not a game. Winning a coin flip would be fun if you won cash at the end of it. Anything would be fun if you won cash at the end of it. You need to strip that out, or just consider it on its broader perspective. Now, we can do this for the old system, because this is why it's so key, because this is the 1 year transition from Sorare 1.0 to 2.0, and we get a full cycle of Sorare 2.0. Because the thing is, as good as I think this Sorare 2.0 launch has been, the first year's been great, we need to remember, it is the first year. You get so much more of an opportunity to do well in your first year, because the next year it's going to be the same, and then the next year it's going to be the same. So this is where I'm sort of looking ahead and I'm saying, if I'm a core user and I'm starting to feel like this, is anyone else? And this is what this video is about. It's not me telling you to be worried. It's just my thoughts on this is how I feel, and almost just asking for it back. Like, am I in the wrong? Do people feel like me? Tell me why I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm right. But anyway, I'm still going to lay out like sort of my point of view. So if we're stripping out the fun part, I'm then looking at some of their recent sort of things they've done. I look at like objectives and I'm like, right, so they've gone for the FIFA mentality of you're grinding, you're playing every day. Genius in concept, but awful in reality for Sorare. I mean, you look at these objectives and it's like, spend more money, complete a collection and get a small bonus, or get completely lucky whilst playing the game. You can't grind towards a hat-trick. You can't grind towards a last man tackle. It's all just pot luck. So what happens is people end up not caring. I mean, I couldn't tell you if I've passed any of. I couldn't tell you of any of the objectives that I haven't got, because all I do is like, oh, score a hat trick, did I? Claim 100 XP or whatever it is. So it's just another step in the wrong direction. Which I know I wouldn't fault you at home if you're saying like, I'm not seeing anything to worry about yet. Fine, let's just go to the next thing. It's like, this game for me is so perfect and such missed opportunities at the same time. Like, you can look around me. There's signed Pokemon cards, graded football cards, signed football cards, football shirts, signed football shirts. What am I trying to say? I'm a collector. There's so many different collections and elements of this game that could be and should have been used. Like, I can't remember the last time I've seen anyone share a squad on, X cards. I used to have ex-Celtic player collections. I used to have legend collections. And I'm not talking about the legends you bought. I'm talking about, like, Iniesta when he was playing in Japan and all these things. And it's like, collecting is so far gone in Sorare 2.0. It's basically redundant. In fact, I'll just say it is redundant. I've got Ren's Camavinga card, and I've got Chouamani's card from when he was playing in France. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. I could put them on the market for the floor and no one's going to snap them up. And that's a huge miss for me, and it takes away a lot of the fun, which in Sorare 1.0 we had that fun of building squad, trying to find players, which kind of links into the game. I hear people say like, oh, well, collecting's still there, but it's only there based on what you can win. I've got an Arsenal collection because I get 3%. You remove 3%, I'd sell all my Arsenal cards except for the ones that play well. It's like, collecting is meant to be fun. It's not meant to be a gamification of how much can I win. And this is the whole point that I'm sort of leading up to or talking about, is that if your only joy is from winning the game, you need to be winning, which the majority aren't. So I can see why there'd be negative sentiment on Twitter or anywhere else. I think to like some of the most fun times, if we're just looking at like games, and I know this kind of contradicts my last point, but it's like those big playing at Anfield, flying with the AC Milan teams, they were always the sort of thing that were just going to be drip fed into the competitions, and then you win one week and you're flying with AC Milan, but they just seem so far from reality right now, and there's so many things like that just aren't there. And why it's so crucial with Sorare 2.0, because it's the end of the season, this ability where you need to go and spend all that money again. So if I spent 4.5-5 grand on my rare team, I know next year I'm probably going to have to spend about a similar amount if I want to play. Whereas previously, you just kind of rolled into it. It wasn't a thought. It's like, you could go hard, you could go soft. In terms of like how much money you spend, you could go really hard, you could go pretty quietly. Like, it doesn't really matter. But this year, it's like, do you want to play? Yes or no? It's gonna cost you this much. It's a very clear decision. If I just click no, I know a lot of my fun is gonna go, because I won't be playing for those big jackpot cash prizes. Now, I understand, and I explained in my last video, Classic still has utility. It's underrated by the market, because those first couple of weeks you'll be playing for jackpot prizes of Saka at £1,500. Haaland will probably be £2,000 in rare. All of these things. But it won't last long, because the player prices will naturally come down as they're supposed to. So then I come back to, what's the picture outside of just trying to win SO5? And it's just losing it. It's niche for me a bit. And all I've spoke about so far is me, which is my channel, I'm going to do that. But the key thing, one, spark that lit the fuse for me, was these last few weeks. I'm so integrated in the Sorare community, and I haven't seen one post about Sorare. Everyone is playing a different game. Play MFL, Footium, or whatever else they're playing. And it's not disgruntled Sorare users saying, hey, fuck these guys, I'm going to go play this game. It's just genuine, curious fans of both that are, allocating more time to a different game. Yes, partially there's elements of that being new and fun, but ultimately, it seems like it is more fun. Of course it is. So, I understand this is almost a natural cycle. There's no realistic news that have changed any of my opinions. It's just the more I see, the more I had to sort of get my thoughts out there and try and feedback from other people. Like, am I being crazy here? Like, is it just me feeling this way? Like, I'm just feeling a bit glum about the game. That's sort of how I feel about it, because it's like, really enjoyed Sorare 2.0, winning money every week, ROI based. I love making my spreadsheets on how much I've won, but that's very, very niche. I remember Pranksy Plays doing a podcast on with Sorare Monkey, The Ramble, and I was thinking about it. One very crucial point he says was that, like, no one's gonna go and play a game tracking like Excel spreadsheets on how much money you make every week. That's not an advertising campaign. Wish I could remember how he said it. But it's like, no one's gonna join Sorare to make 5% ROI every single week for the next however many weeks. And I feel that as well. Like, you do get the jackpot factor in Sorare, but even the change of prize pool, it's like to give everyone a little something. It's like, that's not gonna help either. It's like, every small change seems to be going the wrong way from where I would want the game to be going. I feel like the majority see it and feel the same, but just don't care enough to act on it or do anything about it. You get your core user base that's actively playing other games and loving it, which obviously not a problem, but the core of the game that I love and that I want to be here forever, I could see it sort of fading away. The best parts of this game, trading, buying players you don't know, taking a chance on a youngster and him coming good, all that good stuff is gone. Under 23 is pretty much pointless. You'd never buy someone that's not playing well currently, or you expect to play good in the next couple of weeks, because you only get such a short amount of time to actually play your in-season cards and win that jackpot. And then I don't even know if I touched on it, but the UK Gambling Commission versus Sorare. Now, I am not a lawyer. I don't know who's most likely to win. I don't know the effects really of if they win, what happens. If they win, what happens. But the overarching thought that I conclude to, it can't be good news. If the Gambling Commission finds Sorare a gambling game, I struggle to find a way there's good news from that. You could be able to like squirm the rules and, we got KYC or just KYC UK people. But anyway, it's another thing just where I think these next couple of months, again, I looked at sort of user growth today because that's always been a key metric, and it just sort of backed up my thoughts. It's like March it's awful. It's like 1,400 new users, like 40% down from last year, which is a low anyway. So yeah, it's just sort of those, it's nothing to worry about. It's just some early thoughts I've been having of like, what if I'm going to go and click play on Sorare 2.0 for the next season? I know how much money it's going to take. I know how much time it's going to take. And it's like trying to balance out, is that fun worth it? And I don't know. I'm stuck in the middle on whether I would do it, to be honest. But, little things like seeing everyone else playing different games and all these little additions to Sorare which make no sense, aren't working. And it's like, there's a part of me that's just like, we don't need any more serious changes for Sorare. But then it's a part of me that if we don't make any decent sized changes to Sorare, it's going to be just boring. It's just going to grind slowly to an end because, hot streaks and things on the MLS, I'm not going to buy cards based on that. I might buy it based on the ROI, but to me, it's not adding too much to the game. Maybe that's a contentious point. But overall, like I said, it's just sort of like my thoughts, getting them out there, see what you guys think. Ultimately, thanks a lot for still being here and watching. All the best.